On today's show, a Minnesota first. Researchers use tiny gadgets to try and keep tabs on native bees. High school anglers hop in boats with the pros. This summer job comes with perks.
You'll be beating me in tournaments someday.
Hope so.
And a love of life along Minnesota's Gunflint Trail leads to a new Boundary Waters business.
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers.
Laura and I welcome you to Minnesota Bound.
We hear a lot about bees these days.
Yeah, in Minnesota, many species are on the decline. Exactly why researchers at Three Rivers Park want to use a new research tool.
One that they hope will get them tuned in, so to speak, to Minnesota bumblebees.
Wind-blown prairies. They once covered a third of the entire state of Minnesota. Most are now long gone, long ago erased by both plow and people. Those who still protect prairies see great value in all of this. And if you listen hard enough, you can hear it too.
Got to be some big fuzzy bumblebees out here.
Crow-Hassan Regional Park researchers find themselves buzzing over bees these days.
So essentially we're just looking for the biggest ones possible.
Specifically,
So that one, good sized one.
Minnesota's native bumblebees.
So bumblebees are declining North America, Europe, Asia. We've already been seeing some decline in certain species.
Including right here in Minnesota, home to 23 of North America's 48 native species of bumblebees.
The bumblebees need three things. They need the flowering plants for the pollen and nectar. They need a nesting site, and then they also need an overwintering site.
Angela Grill's team wants to figure out exactly where bumblebees nest. A needle in a haystack proposition in a prairie this big. So they dial up a little help.
Catching them is the fun, easy part.
Workers first collect bumblebees
She's already wiggling away from me.
and prep them to carry a new load.
We already weighed the radio and her, and for this small worker, the radio is going to be about 80% of her weight. So quite a hefty load for her.
That is a tiny, tiny battery-powered radio transmitter.
Today we're putting some radios on bumblebees so that we can figure out where they go in the prairie, where they have their nest sites, how far they move from the nest sites in order to collect pollen to feed the larvae at the nest. One of the reasons it's important to figure out what the bumblebees are doing is to help us better manage our prairie, to know if we're missing any components to making it a healthy habitat for the bumblebees.
And maybe, just maybe, help the population of bees grow.
There you go. Okay, got her.
Angela first removes the bee's back hair.
Bumblebees are very fuzzy, so if we were to attach this radio without the hair removed, she would pull it off. Biggest worry is just not getting any glue on her wings.
She places the transmitter right into place. Fragile work on a critter so small.
And I'm trying to put it directly back behind here in between the wings.
Yep.
So I can smell the pollen. The first time took about over an hour, just because we were so new at it and we weren't really sure what method we wanted to use.
Once the bee goes free, the team makes sure it can move and fly without too much trouble. Now, they try and track that little transmitter.
We can hear them, I think these are up to 100 yards maybe, maximum.
So we'll probably try to spread out with the radios, and hopefully whichever direction it goes, we'll be able to follow it.
Park staff will tell you they don't have all the answers yet.
Within Minnesota, we're the first ones that have put radios on bumblebees. They've been used in a couple of other places in the United States, but yeah, it is kind of a cool thing to be the first one in town to do it.
So the next time you see a prairie, think of the bees and remember this new little game of cat and mouse.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers, by the Yard maintenance-free outdoor furniture, Running Aces Casino, Hotel and Racetrack, and by Alumacraft Boats.
Up next, a story about high schoolers living out their dreams. Minnesota's Classic Bass Circuit allows young anglers to tag along and learn fishing from the pros while they earn a few bucks for their fishing teams. Sometimes meeting heroes means getting up before the sun. On a perfect Mille Lacs Lake morning, high school students pair up with professional anglers for a day of walleye fishing and a bit of work.
Kevin Adair. Good luck, Bill.
A summer job of sorts for the kids. Young anglers who dream of the fishing life 24 hours a day.
A couple of years ago, we started the Champions Tour in the bass world. We're trying to identify who our boat officials should be. And really we thought, you know, there's so many kids, the high school fishing programs are exploding today. And so we thought, let's invite them to see how they would do. And in all honesty, they've performed awesome. These kids are the greatest kids to be around.
The walleye anglers compete for $10,000. The judges keep an eye on each angler.
I hope we catch a lot of fish today.
Grand Rapids high schooler Easton Fothergill hangs out with pro Corey Sprengel.
I call any penalties that he has. If he breaks off, a 2-minute penalty. I also weigh all his fish. I just get to hang out with him. 2.6.
Okay. First one, gotta start somewhere.
This is the business end of the deal.
Can you sign it quick?
The fun stuff starts once kids and anglers get to know each other.
Every weekend I'm up early and fishing somewhere.
I don't drink coffee. So that's a downside to the morning. It takes me a while to wake up.
This is a blast doing this, watching these pros like this fish. You get to learn a lot. You're in 8th right now. Bill Shimoda's winning with 10 pounds even.
Ah yes, Bill Shimoda's boat, where Bill and Gavin Adair hang out.
Gosh, there's fish around, but not the big ones.
They're getting along just fine.
Won't take all my pointers.
Yeah.
You'll be beating me in tournaments someday.
Hope so.
We see a pretty interesting bond. I do believe that the pro anglers have a chance to really give back, and they become friends in the boat. It's really a win-win for both the angler and for our boat officials, the high school program.
You get to learn a lot from all the anglers, and they just teach you a lot about different fish habitats and how to fish them.
It's great for the industry. It's a great thing for the kids to be doing too.
Here's why. The kids watch and learn and, oh yeah, earn too. Classic Bass, which runs these tournaments, pays the high school judges, not directly, but their high school fishing teams earn the money.
It is kind of like a summer job. I mean, for sure, they might not be making the money for their own pockets, but they're absolutely putting their time in on a schedule to go around on a tour circuit and be present, give up their weekends.
We've been able to contribute this year alone $18,000 to the Minnesota youth fishing programs. Fastest growing sport, and proud to be a part of that.
A day of fishing dreams come true, and hopefully someday more to come for these kids.
Yeah, that's kind of what my plan is. I want to go to college and fish the college series and then hopefully fish this someday.
It's really neat to see the younger anglers and the skill level that they're able to bring to this at an earlier and earlier age. Still ahead, a Gunflint Trail business that might make your mouth water
And later, a recycler heads to the woods to turn trash into brightly lighted treasures.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Maple Grove Lock and Safe, your premier Liberty safe dealer.
Up next, we travel north to one of Minnesota's most remote spots, a lodge where camp food became something tastier.
So many people thirst for a life in its simplest form. A remote reality of all that is raw and natural. Such an existence exists on Minnesota's Gunflint Trail at a must-go mid-trail stop where food rules.
Okay, American Swiss or cheddar.
And so do people.
We love to cook. We love to make fun stuff.
Oh, Michael.
It's nerve-wracking when you cook for people.
Sarah Hamilton runs Trail Center Lodge.
I just say it's a restaurant bar with cabins.
An iconic backwoods bistro where Boundary Waters guests celebrate real food right before and right after remote trips.
We have people that come in once a year for that one burger.
See, campers around these parts almost always try and pack light, especially when they haul by skinny boat and backpack.
And that's when I started hearing people say, oh my God, we need real food. You know, our food was terrible, the trip was wonderful.
Sarah found inspiration.
The office.
In the old garage out front.
This is it, all of it.
Home of a sudden outdoor obsession.
Here she comes. And this is Dre, she makes every package.
Well, hello.
Dre Lilienthal wouldn't ever take credit for all this.
Ready? How fast can I go? Really fast?
But she has become the brawn behind the brand.
She's in charge. Camp Chow is just an easy food to take out in the wilderness with you. Or camping. You don't have to go clearing the wilderness to use it. It's just easy. All you have to carry along with you is water.
Sarah dreamed up more than 170 dehydrated camp food recipes, all prepped right in their own bag.
And we could make 100 more if they would let me. They won't let me.
They would be Dre. See, she's responsible for whipping up all the recipes and all the orders.
Creamer.
Sometimes bagging food 10 hours straight.
Smells the cheese.
Such is demand for this sudden Boundary Waters brand.
We just grow it slowly, and I don't know. I'm scared.
She should be. Just listen.
We were the guinea pig at Stone Harbor. Sarah started coming in here with samples.
Now, owner Jack Stone cannot keep Camp Chow on the walls.
I had an employee that worked here who would come in. I'd get a shipment in. I forget what it was some mushroom something or another. And it'd come in, and I'd go back and look at it. It was gone. He was buying it and taking it home and having dinner.
That's saying something.
Got it all in there.
About a full meal that comes in a little plastic bag.
Of course, the people that come up into the Boundary Waters are our biggest customers, but it has slowly gotten in different places in the country. So I'm selling it on the Pacific Crest Trail, on the Appalachian Trail, some outfitters in Miami.
Just one problem. Success tends to burn calories.
Every day.
And all Sarah's gas. When the closest shipping station sits 30 miles away, back in town.
And I just go to town every day. That's fine. I'll go twice a day.
Coming up next, meet Sean Carlin, a hunter of Minnesota's outdoor treasures. He recycles junk into some very bright ideas.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut, Adams Pest Control, Rave Sports, your local carrier dealer, and by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
Up next, a story about one of our all-time favorite Minnesota State Fair vendors.
Sean Carlin came up with a rather bright idea for all the junk he found in the woods and old farm fields.
Not to dive into the cliches, but if one man's trash becomes, well, you know, Sean Carlin could be the king of collectors.
I've always drug home things I shouldn't be dragging home. I ask my wife. You know, I used to go to auctions, I'd go to estate sales, I'd go to garage sales.
All Sean's treasures end up here.
So when you look around in this shop, I mean, I've picked all this stuff. Everything in here I've touched, everything in here I've found, everything in here I've dug out of a flea market. You know, we found it somewhere. I mean, there's so much fun stuff in here.
And Sean,
This one's probably one of my favorites.
becomes attached,
You know, this reminds me of my dad.
to darn near every piece.
This is probably my favorite. These are probably my favorites. This stuff is to me just super cool. What we do with it, I don't know.
Oh, he knows. See, a few years back, Sean traded in his tech exec job to take Minnesota's tired junk and sort of shine new light on it.
It's more of recycled, upcycled, you know, finding found objects and turning it into something fun.
Like I said, he knows exactly what. The first time he did this, the light bulb clicked on.
This all started from a lamp I made for my dad, and it seems only fitting that my dad should have to help as well. But my dad creates all the aviation stuff. My wife helps, you know, tremendously around the shop. My daughter's 16, so, you know, it's whatever I can get her over here to do. It's a family thing, and we have a great time with it.
Sanding, coating, cleaning, wiring, we can all do that. Sean kind of puts most of the stuff together. He's the visionary, he's got all the ideas.
Not true.
But this was my idea.
Lori Carlin figured out how to get wires through the maze of pipes using the family's old vacuum.
What I like to do is I like to take the iconic piece, the piece that everybody recognizes, and build it into something that's nostalgic, something that somebody remembers.
Now the Carlins' work goes to customers all over the world. Even so, Sean still loves the local crowd.
State Fair is pretty crazy. People watch it. What people say when they come into our booth, it ranges from the guy that says, oh, I could build this and I could do it. The other one is, I wouldn't give 10 cents for this, and it's usually the older people that grew up around this stuff. The other one is they just love it. I mean, it's art to them, and it's just cool pieces.
It's taking heritage and recreating it into something functional and useful for today.
End up leaving Best Buy, and, you know, good grief. I mean, it's a scary little thing to try and do, but I mean, this is amazing. I mean, we've had a blast with this, building lights and lamps.
And more importantly, recycling Minnesota's history one piece at a time. Although, by the looks of it,
this is the front of the DC-9.
Sean better get back to work.
So this is an old, probably 1920s water meter.
He's got a lot of stuff to build on.
This is the front of an old steam locomotive. This would have probably been mounted to the side of an old train boxcar. I don't know what it'll become, but it's neat.
Sean will have a few of his favorite pieces for sale at the Minnesota Bound Cabin this year.
I cannot believe we are so close to the fair. So exciting.
We'll see you there, and in the meantime, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors. Time for walnut cakes.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. To get more Minnesota Bound, including full episodes, go to mnbound.com. And to follow our latest adventures, like us on Facebook.